very fun for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have had a great time, but then I also would have felt bad afterwards for adding more player characters to the dead NPC to the dead players list that's growing in the bottom right. But oh well. Let us get on then with our aspirations. Remembered because there is a handout that says aspirations, you twat on it, which helps me remember things, which is very useful.
We travel in the name of God.
Yep, another alive or unliving. I hadn't moved down to the selection. No, you can't see aspirations, you twat. It's there for me. Okay, so Lily, you have deal with the owl situation with a plus in it. You have eliminate those using werewolf blood with a plus in it, and you have form a pact. Is there anything that you would like to change?
Nope.
Excellent.
I added the pack thing last session.
Yep.
At the very end.
That's correct. Mers, you have finding a priest for St. Mary's Church and befriending them, wiping San Basado free of the Strix, and advancing in the Covenant's favour. So both finding a priest and advancing favour have a plus in them. Is there anything that you would like to change?
Nope.
Cool. Gotta figure out a way to get those things knocked out.
I mean, I have been waiting for like a reply to an email for one of them.
Oh Jesus. You can make up what that reply is if you would like. I mean, that's the reality of these kinds of things. Most of the onus is just going to be on you to make shit up for me. They could be injected as a story thing for all I know. Regardless, I'll leave that in your hands. And we have Strays, who is apparently going to be trying to get rid of his fucking touchstone when he turns up. And he also needs to find a wormstone for the Defiant and find a skilled human to ghoul. And then we have the infamous Joseph Hanna. He has the aspiration to connect with Kara and become friends. That's got a plus in it. To set up surveillance on a Kindred member of the party. And to gain the trust of at least a single Kindred. Is there any of those that you would like to change? And then betray.
Pretty much Gucci with that right now.
Excellent. Excellent. Everyone knows that Gucci was a vampire.
Your next aspiration, if you complete any of those, to be firebomb a Kindred's house.
Execute Order 66.
What's this in my pocket? Oh shit, it's a tiny monk. I must be high as fuck. If you don't know that gift, I'm gonna find it.
I don't know what that is. I mean, it sounds delightful.
It's related to Order 66.
Oh, okay. Oh, right, of course, because of their holocom things. Alright then. In which case, who wants... Oh, let's a peek here. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. And so, let's carry you motherfuckers back into our delicious city map.
The fuck?
It's nothing, it's just giant Nicolas Cage face. Don't look over there.
When did you have that?
Like half an hour ago. It's just like, I don't know what this thing is missing. It's missing a giant Nicolas Cage face, obviously. And for some reason, even though, like, you know how you have preview tabs across the top for your pages? The preview tab for the city map has always been just the token of the mystery machine, even though it was, like, the first token that went on there. Whenever Nicolas Cage's face goes on it, he becomes the lead token on that map, on that, like, tab thing, no matter what. Like, I just put him in, he's the newest token. It became Nicolas Cage's face. Deleted it, it became the mystery machine. In that one in the library with all those fucking dudes, it's a Nicolas Cage face. Like, all of that shit. He's the most important token.
It's because that's the highest res one. That's how it picks.
So I have an extra resolution Nicolas Cage face. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Also, apparently, because of the way Roll20 assigns sprites with names, if I just drag them into the uploads thing, like off of the internet directly, it just gives them a string of fucking terrifying letters. God, there's a lot of stuff that just went weird. But oh well. It's the best name one has ever seen given to the fattest pigeon. But oh well. So, who would like to do the fuck out of what today? You're all fed
Wait,
up,
what?
you're all juiced. I believe that a certain Joseph Hanna, who was absent from the previous session, had things that he wanted to do because you left early at the end of the fight in the warehouse after successfully firebombing the boss and his two flunkies.
I mean,
Pigeon token. Sorry,
pigeon token?
nothing. That thing.
It's a pigeon token?
Oh, protect your cars, guys.
Yeah, his name is Edgewalker Ferg, but they gotta get sad and Sicklebogger.
It's okay. Clearly, I have made a deal with the urban spirits not to shit on my car.
I feel like that's a thing that most werewolves get sorted out there.
Oh, unless you piss off a spirit. And they're like, hey guys, go shit on his car.
Absolutely, gotta be careful about that. But fuck yeah. Alright, so yeah, Joseph, what did you go to do then after you finished up icing some, well, not icing, the opposite of icing, crisping some bitches?
Joseph actually has like a boring thing going on. More likely than not, he just went home, figured he'd probably have enough input. Like, Kara's literally beating up vampires with vampires, so she probably had it in the bag.
Yep.
After getting home, let's see, what's Joseph's schedule? He's not a kindred for certain, so he's not a nighttime worker. More likely than not,
Which portion of the night do you overlap with then? The latter half or the former?
was a former more likely, unless he's the type to get up early and such, which I could see.
Well, it depends. I mean, the events that occurred in the factory were nearer to the later half of, like, the Kindred sleep cycle, so it would have been closer to then at the very least.
I'd say it's more convenient to say Joseph just gets up early in the morning.
Fair enough. So yeah, that means essentially Joseph has an entire day ahead of him. Because the vampires were asleep and then eventually went to get some food at the end of Vampire Murder Fest 2K17, well, in this game, 2K16. You will have also likewise had an entire lifetime, like, you know, morning, afternoon, and evening to handle before the vampires get involved.
Alright, schedule's pretty basic. After dealing with his stuff with Kara and helping out and everything, more likely than not, he would see about just getting home. Everything is all set up. He'd be sure to pick up his last drone. I think he might have left one that was kind of busted on the ground. But I think Joseph would be the type to actually pick it up before leaving.
Actually, if I remember correctly, when you left, like, you went out the bathroom into the security room, grabbed your fuckoed drone, and then left. So yeah, you have that with you. It's damaged and unusable, but you have it with you.
Okay. He'd toss all his junk from his adventure. He'd be kind of excited he took down a few kindred. Normally, when he was doing stuff with his lodge, it's more so just how do I get into this? With his lodge, with the gargoyles and everything, they deal more with like mortal affairs, as one would expect with people amongst the Iron Masters.
Right.
Like just dealing with like random problems through the city, making sure it stays clean, but like they're not like zealots or anything like that. It's more so towards business.
I see. So you sort of do the behind-the-scenes negotiations as opposed to the Batmaning around that some of the other lodges would do.
Well, our lodge does sort of
They Batman around, yeah.
They're like the Batman Lodge, basically. But But Josh's specialty is actually security and such. If he's doing anything with his lodge, more often than not, he's actually the type to actually do preparations. He finds out information in relation to like which place they're heading towards, what sort of problems might arise, researching like the background and seeing what sort of connections we can make to make it a little bit easier on us.
Okay, then.
Because he's a computer guy.
That's fair. Okay, I'm gonna explain the concept of a thing then. It's a mechanic that exists in the game, and it's the idea of people's dice modifiers, like a pool that they can draw from, being improved by having, like, preparations made for them ahead of time, or being particularly well equipped for a situation. To give an example, I have to go talk with a shady business dealer, so I spend my time, like, picking out the perfect suit. And there would be a test associated with picking out the perfect suit, but you get what you want, and then that means that when you go on to interact with these shady business dudes, you have a +1 dice pool, because you're leaving a very good impression. You, with essentially your set of skills, would effectively be able to do the same with a location. So assuming you know where to go, as long as you correctly make the preparations in the first place, you'll be able to add to people's dice pools when it's time for them to interact within that space. So if there's anything along the lines of prep, you can perhaps provide information that would at least give other people other dice, even if you didn't intend on using them for an encounter.
Gucci. That's exactly what I was hoping for with Joseph in the first place.
Well, there you have it. So yeah, as of right now, what you know about is there is some stuff going on in the city. The spirits are restless, but not in the same way that you're used to. Like, most of the time they're restless because they're looking to cause some fresh new mischief. In this case, they're restless because they're being too peaceful. They're afraid and they're out of the way of other people. Like, surveillance spirits are like not seeing things, and some of them are getting caught up in dangers. Lots of like spirits of scavengers and stuff are turning up to sites of intense misery and like glutting themselves on essence from there. But at the same time, nothing is really showing its face in a major way. Like, you're aware now that there are major players around. It was something that Kara was looking into in the first place before she got mixed up with the vamps. So that is something you could try and research into.
I'll certainly do that. And to actually help myself or look into this, I'd see if I can contact Kara myself. I'll go ahead and call some of the boys and see if they know Kara's contacts. And after retrieving that, I assume it won't be too difficult. I'll go ahead and call her. This will be sometime in the morning.
Okay, sure. If it's in the morning, that would have been around the time that Kara had breakfast and stuff, so I leave that in your hands. Go ahead.
Insert Kara ringtone.
How are you getting my phone number?
By asking at the lodge, presumably.
Well, not just the lodge, but like just people at the bar, like, hey, yo, anyone have like Kara's contact? Like, just calling up different people and stuff like that. Something crazy went on. There was a few vampires, like, I think they were selling drugs or something. I don't know. I don't really know the stick of it, but a lot of them got blown up, and I think everything's pretty much fine now. But yeah, I just need to contact. I want to call up Kara. Can you help me out? And that's how he'd be getting into contact. If no one knows it, then he'd just go out on his own.
Yeah, I don't know. Kara, are there people who know your name at the bar and maybe have your phone number on hand?
Suppose maybe some of the elders,
Sure, I mean...
alphas of packs and whatnot.
Let's see, it's in the morning. Who is working at the Silver Lodge in the morning? Well, it's, I mean, essentially the head honcho pack, like, actually live out of the bar sort of nice place that's owned by the wolf-blooded couple. Would it be the wolf-blooded or the alphas themselves who directly have your contact details?
I wouldn't say the wolf-blooded would. The alphas probably.
Okay, sure. I mean,
the wolf-blooded couple's nice and all, but
yeah, they have the lovely. They run the bread and breakfast portion of the Silver Lodge bar. And there you have it. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it takes a little bit of asking around, but you can get a hold of an alpha who seems amenable to it. There's a rather young, handsome one who is quite associated with Kara. In fact, he'd apparently made contact with her, like, not too long ago in the day, actually. And he'd be happy to pass on the number to you.
Well, let's see. Might not be a good idea for me to just like go ahead and call up that number, seeing as it took so much hassle.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask him to actually contact Kara for me, and see if she'd be willing to connect with a Joseph Hana, and suggest for him. Well, I'll do the suggestion to say it's the drones guy. Remember the drones guy? Not in those words.
Right, no. I remember someone actually mentioning, maybe it was word of mouth from Kara herself earlier, that someone went and exploded some Kindred. That was you say? Before I give her a nudge then, I know that you were there roughly around the same time. They found some really quite weird spirit-related bits and pieces. Is there anything that's strange that you noticed while you were there? Or have they found everything you're thinking?
Joseph will actually have to like think about this. He's not really the type to really pay too much attention about the spirit stuff going on.
It's true. I was going to lead into that one in a sec.
Let's see. What would Joseph notice?
Okay, well, to originally, like, get into that whole building itself, it's not like you're able to solid snake your way in. You probably had to enter through the spirit world and then essentially climb out of a bathroom mirror. So whilst you were entering it, you would have been able to look around for a little while, and since you'd been there first and were essentially giving them bonuses to knowledge around that place, let's see here. Can you roll me a d3, please?
Sure
Being
thing.
essentially how many hours early you might have been there, or... Alright, so you only got there an hour earlier, so you missed a lot of their major, like, initial preparations. By the time you climbed in, you're pretty sure, like, the big Kindred Elder guy had arrived and then sadly departed, like, a little bit before you. So you didn't get to see who their biggest headest honcho was. But the spirits were definitely restless, of perhaps a scared nature. And considering the location operates as somewhere very fortified, it was a bit unusual to see, but otherwise that's all the information you have.
Okay. Yeah, I sort of noticed the spirits about there were frightened for some reason. I think whoever was over there when I arrived to help out may have been big. But I guess it's strange because the place was pretty fortified, everything boarded up. Obviously to block out the sun. Wood everywhere, kind of shanty. You know how it is.
Yeah. I know how leeches like to operate. Alright. I mean, that seems pretty much in keeping with what's been going on. Listen, there is a thing here that Kara herself's going to be putting together. It's going to be a little bit of a hunt. Sort of a challenge to see who the best hunter is. And of those folks, they would happen to inherit a particularly powerful fetish. I don't know if direct hunting is exactly your game, but it might do good to, take part, or maybe you happen to know some people who'd love to be in it themselves.
I know a few people from my lodge who might be interested. But I'll tell you what, I've been wanting to talk with the local werewolves a bit more. I haven't been really personal, at least not often.
Well, that's fair enough. Tell you what, you turn up in the evening, and you'll probably be right in time for some drinking and some food. Best time to meet anyone around here.
Joseph looks dodgy for a second. I don't exactly drink that often.
He just seems almost scandalized. Oh, well, I guess it's not for everyone, I suppose. I know that there's some of the more, best to put it, moon-touched ones who don't really like to lose control of themselves too hard.
Oh, it's nothing like that. I just don't drink.
Huh. He seems even more baffled, if anything. But he goes, all right, to each their own. Well, I mean, it's still a good place to go, even if you don't do the drinking. That's the best I can do for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly what you'd call a social networker. I'm just an ass-kicking machine quite capable of keeping all these young bucks in line, he says, being quite a young person himself.
How old is Joseph, actually, when I think about it? Does he look like roughly my age or something?
He looks late 20s.
Okay, so he's like roughly my age.
Yep. I mean, power-wise, by comparison, he far outstrips you. Like, no one makes it to being an alpha if they're weak, and it usually takes them quite a decent number of years to become that potent. At his age, that's almost unheard of. Almost. Not completely, of course, but it speaks a lot that he's a very strong individual and no one is willing to try and unseat him.
Well, like typical people of my aspects, I'll look him over more carefully.
Alrighty.
And take him a little bit more seriously, considering the context of the situation.
Okay. Is there a power you're trying to utilize?
Oh, nothing like that. I just wanted to communicate what sort of expression Joseph might be wearing here. And with a smile, he just says, I'll see if I can do... Let me see if I can do something that's out of the norm. I'm trying to have fun here, and last night's experience has me really wanting to be involved.
Ah,
Again.
you finally got some blood in your teeth, is that it?
I wouldn't say I got blood in my teeth, but I certainly left a mark.
Alright, fair enough.
And Joseph just impishly shrugs.
No, that's understandable. I suppose it's not every time that you get to blow up a couple leeches, I suppose. Even I've tangled with them once, ever, maybe? I'm pretty sure just once. They don't much mess with us directly. I mean, so long as you and Kara can keep your noses clean so far as not pissing off the lot of them, that'd be fantastic. I mean, let's face it, if they ever came to do anything with us, we'd fucking destroy them. However, it's not the kind of attention we're looking to draw on ourselves. So we just leave them be as long as they don't touch us. Anyway, I'll give Kara a nudge for you and see if she'll give you a call.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
And Joseph does like a little nod of approval. This guy seems cool.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's young and he can be very, very arrogant, but generally when treated with respect and like any other person at the same time, which is a hard thing to do, but you technically actually pulled that off. It's literally on his character. Then he's, generally quite good back. That said, don't piss him off. He's real strong. And yeah, Kara, at some point you get he doesn't call you directly so much as he sends you a text. Along the lines of, like, Joseph Hanna described himself as that guy with the drones and stuff. Wanted to have a chat with you. And he attaches Joseph's phone number for you.
Okay. I guess I'll give him a call. I will tell him to meet me somewhere. That's what I'll do. I'll text him.
Where are you going to meet?
Let's see. What time is it? Like evening?
No, more like... I'm trying to remember the scale of time when you went and did all that traveling and such. Probably very early evening, if anything. Because when you received that text, you would have been in the spirit world doing the stuff. So yeah, early evening sounds about right.
I wouldn't have gotten it at the time.
Exactly, yes. You sort of climb out and in the middle of like Dante's Little Inferno.
God, it could have been a literal inferno. I missed the opportunity there.
Oh no, that place is already burned down. The Little Inferno burned down in like session 2. It's been rebuilt.
It's okay. They built it back up.
Yeah, it's under new management, owned by a Rastafarian man who can see the dead.
Not a Rasta. Wasn't he?
No, yeah, no, he was fuck, it's
Haitian.
Haitian. Yes, correct, Haitian.
There is a difference.
There is a difference. Yes, he's a Haitian.
Racist prick.
I just couldn't remember which kind of culturally insensitive black person I pretended to be at the time.
All the Islander black people are the same.
Like, he was black and had
It's
dreads, so
one
sue
of
me.
them.
One of them. Yeah, no, you're correct. It was a Haitian fellow who could see the dead. But yeah, so you sort of climb out the mirror with your companion, and she's still, like, peeking around warily as though that thing that was hunting you was still out there somewhere. And then there's like, she just nearly fucking jumps out of her skin when your phone beeps.
I'll check it. And tell him to meet me in like an hour. At where's a good place? At generic restaurant A.
Whenever I put a location in this game, I tend to have it carrying a little bit of impact along with it.
What kind of generic? Like Arby's generic or
An
freaking
Applebee's.
An
Oh
Applebee's.
hell yeah!
Alright. Okay, so it's early evening, and you're being invented, and two werewolves are meeting in an Applebee's. Excellent. And I mean, you're already in the middle class zone, so that's fucking perfect. Let's see here. Enjoy, there is an Applebee's. Right. That got surprisingly large text. It's more important than any of the other nearby locations, apparently. No, okay.
This is that one Arby's with the.
Damn you, Borksmith. So yeah, it's not a massively long walk to get yourselves there. Well, it's a bit of a longer journey for Joseph. What's his typical, like, travel method?
He actually I think he just bikes around. He doesn't really own, he has his own car, but, like, he doesn't think the city's big enough to warrant, like, driving around and being fancy or anything like that.
Fair enough.
And,
You say bike, do you mean bicycle or motor?
like, an actual bicycle.
Nice.
Bicycle.
I like just saying bicycle when I've got the opportunity. And then it usually makes others say it too. Sure. Have you got like a fixie, or is it a mountain bike? It's Joseph Hanna, the drone nerd, also rides a fixed gear bicycle.
Well, it actually has actual gears.
Alright.
A fixed gear bicycle is going too far.
A bit too deep down the hipster hole. Okay, yeah. It's not a problem for you guys to meet at the Applebee's. While third is...
Actually-
oh, yep.
Though Joseph actually feels like Applebee's might be a little bit too fancy.
Ooh.
Could have just gone to McDonald's or something.
Well, you know, it's early evening. Maybe she wants to get the early bird special. It's a perfect time to go to an Applebee's, surely. I don't actually know what an Applebee's is like. I only know it from, like, meme territory. It's not a thing here in England.
How do I describe Applebee's? Are you familiar with IHOP?
Likewise, that's an American place. Doesn't really exist here.
Okay. It's just like a regular old eatery. You just go there. You get like an actual like cooked meal style sort of thing versus like just a cheapo hamburger. And you also have like a grill in the background and shit. And that's Applebee's basically.
Ah, fair enough. So not actually fancy at all.
Not really fancy at all.
Alright, fair enough. Amazing.
But like it's certainly if you go from Arby's to Arby's, it's certainly homogenous.
Okay. You know, I'll take your word for it. We've got some places like that. I'm trying to think of. Oh, the Beefeaters. That's probably close to it. Just a place where you go to get cooked meat. Hooray! Yes. Well,
Okay, I'm literally gonna search Arby's equivalent England.
oh god, mine just says, "Were you looking for depression?" All right. Yes. So, well, that is AFK. Timothy Lee. We're gonna like essentially time skip forward into night when you've had your meal. Your potentially dangerous meal, all things considered. You nearly killed the lady, if I remember rightly. What you gonna do afterwards?
Now, I do have a dreadful idea.
All right.
And there is a question as to whether I go through with that or not. And it's more of a question of do I do it yet? And I kind of want to.
Okay.
Except I don't know if it'll actually work.
I'm back.
But
Welcome back.
worth a shot.
Okay, sure. You'll have to give me some rolls to find your target.
Oh, there is that, but there's also my first thing was that well, Tim's Beast. It's not a complete nublet,
Right.
but it does still seem pretty young, and if, say, someone doesn't recognize what it is, pretty vulnerable. So if he's out here all by himself, driving a long, meandering route, maybe someone might find him before he finds them.
That is essentially a way that you could use your dice to try and find a target. Let's see here. What essentially you can have your beast broadcasting as though it's always looking for a fight. I mean, to anyone who might find you a tasty, delicious snack, that's essentially the same thing. It's like baiting your hook. What kind of beast do you present yourself with when you're going for your drive? Like, if something brushes up against it, it's going to feel one of those three core impulses: the charming beast, the dominant beast, or the aggressive beast.
Gonna be going with competitive.
Alrighty. Okay, and then we'll hold you at that. Let you do more thinking and planning. And also, my brain needs to do a bit more thinking and planning. And we'll roll back to the Applebee's, where Kara, you're waiting there for a Joseph Hannah who arrives on a bicycle. Ilfair has already been like, that was fun and scary, and I'll catch you later, and has left. Essentially catching an Uber out of, like, headed essentially to the northeast again.
I think I know how to describe Applebee's now.
Alright.
It's basically like a pub,
Okay.
except there's barely any booze. And
What?
kids go to it.
Oh, fuck that noise then. I mean, that just sounds like a pub with kids in it. Boring.
I'm so sorry.
And it feels less homey.
Oh, all of this is the worst. I would never go to this fucking... This sounds like an atrocity.
Or
Shit,
here's
I've been
this.
muted. Fuck.
Yes,
Uh,
yes you have.
Applebee's is sort of like a pub, except they focus less on the drinks.
That's
and
exactly
more
what
on-
whatever could just say.
on shitty frozen meals that they just like throw in the microwave, basically.
Yeah,
They also have pies.
I do like pie. But anyway, so yeah.
Applebee's are just shitty fucking restaurants.
You know what? I was trying to think of like a place lame enough for someone to be at, but sadly you're there too early in the evening for that character to arrive. That would have been when the fucking member of the players was there, looking for some early morning strange.
Well, I mean, we're early. I said meet in an hour, so I'm gonna go home, get changed, and all that.
Okay, fair
And,
enough.
Yeah. And then
Alright.
meet him there. So, maybe getting into later evening.
Alright, fair enough. So, by the time that you've arrived back there at the Applebee's, Joseph Hannah is also just about to arrive. You see someone who
And,
smells of death and also lots of body spray.
Could I just put pin in that? I gotta go deal with puppies real quick,
Okay.
and just go ahead and get somebody else.
Goodness me. It's jumping around. Alright, do back with Mass time.
Alright.
You're out in the middle of like winding middle streets with the beast on display. Essentially looking yourself for a juicy, juicy target. And let's see here. Okay. Now, the target that you're looking to get attacked by, even if you're ready to be attacked, is still a pretty adept hunter. So let's see here. Can you give me a composure expression test, please?
How do I make blood potency stop being highlighted?
There you go.
Oh.
I just clicked the word blood potency.
Yeah, I tried that 3 or 4 times.
Strange. Yes, expression composure. That's intelligence you've got there.
Oops.
Oh, whatever. It was in the 10 was in the first of your dice. Okay, so that would be 2 successes, judging by just where the dice are placed there. So, you aren't caught 100% off guard. You're driving around and you feel it, this tremor against your consciousness. You don't see anything or hear anything. You get the sudden impression that something just sort of slipped around your beast like oil over water and you're being followed or watched. Something is wrong.
Alright. Well, here goes nothing.
I'm excited about this mad plan. I love it. I love it so much.
So, you know, I don't know if this is actually going to make a difference. I'm gonna hope it will, though.
Okay.
Gonna drive over towards Lafette Supreme. Because there, I believe I got a dramatic success, exceptional success even, on my shadow play just last night.
Yes, you did.
And maybe having bent the shadows here to my will then, maybe they'll be a little more receptive to me today.
That is a pretty good guess. Let's just drag you into Lafette Supreme's big ol' map. So, you arrive in a car which is fucking doot. I'm a car. And you're faced with Lafette Supreme. It is earlier in your night, and you can see someone has made vague attempts at boarding up the windows. There is police tape across the very front door, and a sign up on like the frontmost window of the restaurant. That's just like apologies, we're closed temporarily. And then like just some waffling text and a phone number to call for inquiries. The sensation that you're being hunted is still there. There is something unpleasant about. I'm like looking for cool shadowy tokens of owls and shit.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Puppies have been annoying.
I'm sure they have been.
I'm here too.
Yay! Hello.
Bork, bork.
Okay.
I'm very sorry that it was rush hour traffic.
It's no worries. It happens. Okay. So, what are you gonna do? You're faced with this boarded up building, and indeed the shadows feel receptive to you out here.
Okay, so Tim's gonna get out of the car and then he's gonna approach the door and uh, he's gonna lean in, hook, and sigh. Damn. Really looking forward to grabbing a bite here.
Nice.
Hope that waitress is all right, whatever happened. And then I'm going to try to stealthily do shadow play.
Okay. You can give me a shadow play test. If you get exceptional successes as well, no one will see you do it. You can do a stealth test first. It'll give you more dice. And you also have +1 because you already fucking own this place.
Yeah, I am just reminding myself what the proper pool is.
Okie dokie. Yes, to catch everyone up here, especially Stray, while Claire is getting ready to go see a touchstone, Kara and Joseph are going to be meeting at Applebee's.
Why?
I don't know yet, we'll find out soon. But in the meantime, Timothy Lee has an owl extermination plan that he's about to try out.
Applebee's is so gross, though.
It was nearby.
It's kind of the intent.
Yeah,
That's what we were talking about earlier.
indeed. When we were talking about it, it's like, I don't know of a place that's like that here in England. And apparently it just sounds like a depressing pub without the booze.
Scout, what attribute should I use for the stealth test?
There is a, let's see here, the stealth is... I'll say wits!
Normally
Wits, because you're using a
Dex-
power.
Okay. So 2 on the stealth, and then
Yep, your shadow play. You have a bonus 1 to your pool because of your previous exceptional success here. Okay.
No, I'm going to need my willpower.
Okay. Alright. So maybe it's just because you're trying to do so subtly as you can, like draw shadows into your hand like so much spun silk, but you don't seem to like get a good wad of it, so to speak. But I mean, you've gained control. It's not as fierce as it was the first time you were here, but back then you were like full shadow wizard, like throw back the cape and take control. In this case, you're trying to be a lot more subtle. It doesn't seem to reach out to you quite as powerfully as so. The shadows here are very much more receptive than they would usually be. And then there is a thudding sound on the top of this car. And when you look over your shoulder, you can see that sort of sat across the roof of the car, with one leg crossed over the other in an almost demure fashion, is a figure made of cloaks and rags. You can't see their eyes beneath the shadows that cannot shift beneath its mask, and that's saying something considering your usually quite potent vampire eyes.
Let's fix that. I'm going to reflexively activate Night Sight.
Okie dokie. What are the rules for Night Sight? Let's see here. Eyes. You can see invisible and incorporeal entities. Okay, so you can see underneath the hood, although that's technically not saying much. You can see great, piercing, large eyes like those of an owl, but it appears as though the face itself is made of constantly writhing, thick shadows. Beneath these shadows, whenever they like move from side to side, you can see a slack-jawed human expression. Likely the body that this person is technically inhabiting. Whether they're alive or dead is hard to say. They're immediately under the sway of whatever this creature is that clings to it. A wit's composure might tell you more. Okay, yeah, nothing more than that. You're pretty sure this person is inhabiting a human, although from its current stance and aching stillness, it's hard to say whether that's an effect of its control or just the fact that it might be on a corpse. It definitely smells like someone, if not dead, close to the edges of death. And they're watching you. Head tilted slightly to the side.
You know, Dante was very particular about that car before he died. But then I don't mind. It's not mine, anyway.
Fair enough. Dead teeth smile at you, and then it drives a fist into the roof of the car and tears off like just a portion of it. It's a very casual motion. You can see that there's buckled and twisted metal dug into its arm, which it just brushes off as though it were nothing more than dust. It'll hop off the top of the car. And is this Dante someone we've killed already?
I couldn't hear you properly, sorry.
And is this Dante someone we've killed already?
No. Someone we have.
No small loss then. Tell me you don't seem very surprised to see me.
No. But then perhaps you don't quite see me for what I am.
I see you as one of our misguided offspring, able to live and enjoy life.
Oh, my dear.
And he'll take another halting step forward.
Live, yes. As you are the dying shadow, so am I the living one. But don't worry. Soon enough, you'll experience that in your own special way.
Where most would their eyes would narrow, this thing's eyes grow wider, although you get the same impression from it essentially. How very ironic. I was going to say the same to you after I ate your soul from that withered body. Taking a step forward.
Then it seems we are of one mind. I don't suppose you want to roll over and we can have this done quickly.
Are you trying to fight me or fuck me, Kindred? And initiative. Or more appropriately, speed. To your test. Oof. Alright, he's going to get the first attack at you. What he does is leap at you. His arms go spread wide and you can see tendrils of shadow and what looks like feathers being caught in an invisible wind flying off of him. These rags fall back to reveal a figure that appears almost desiccated. there is an open, gaping hole in this individual's chest where you can see that there is a crushed heart inside, and a number of shattered ribs that had been previously obscured by simply folded cloth. And he takes a fucking swing at you. What was your defense again?
He's attacking me, so I can quick draw my sword.
Correct.
Does mean my initiative drops, but my defense is now 6.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And he swings at you and misses. Hold still so I can kill you. And can you make me a test? Resolve composure. Alright, and you stand your ground in the face of this monstrosity. Go ahead. Falls in your court now, Timmy.
Let's get rid of that shell of yours, shall we? And Tim is going to twist his hand, cast his shadows that he gathered as a net. Not solid, but shadow proper. And I'm going to try to entrap the real Strix and pull it out of the human.
Excellent. Okay. Give me a shadow play test. Your additional dice are equal to your successes on the previous roll. Which is in this case, I believe, is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, it latches hold, and then you see this figure go from, like...
Willpower.
Hmm?
I'm spending a willpower.
Okay.
4 successes. Oh well.
That's still pretty good. I have to beat that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see this thing's expression shift from one of, like, hungry, murderous glee to one of abject confusion when, like, this net seems to go over it. It waves a hand as though expecting to just sort of scatter this to nothingness with its body. But when its arm digs into this net of shadow, like, the hand that pushes through it just seems to flop and go still, and you can see that there is physical, solid shadow pressing up against the other side of the net, and its expression transforms into one of almost horror. You would guess that fear. It's gonna try and fight its way free. It is not fighting its way free. You've got this thing buried underneath a net. It is within this body still, although it is trying to make itself small so as not to be hauled bodily out. And what else did I try and do on its turn? Sorry, I forgot to move it over. I mean, you have special actions and shit that you can do. Let's use one of his nasty, nasty person shadow powers. Alright. Okay, it's going to successfully use a power. It points its head up at you and lets out a horrible, horrible scream. And it is an unnatural noise that completely destroys the voice box of this thing's body. Like, shreds of gobbets of flesh will be flecked out of this thing's mouth as it destroys itself, screaming at you incredibly hard. What dice would you like to use to try and resist an attack of a sonic variety? Based on the way in which you defend yourself is how I affect you if I can put negative effects on you.
Yeah. Most of my normal ways of defending myself won't work here. Um. Actually, you know what might work? As it starts screaming, going to try to solidify the portion of the net in front of its mouth, and diffuse the noise that way.
Okay, that sounds like a wits no, sorry, not manipulation. Wits composure to me. And you got more successes than his 2 successes of power. You muffle the sound. It's still absolutely horrible, and you feel that it just bursts your eardrums naturally. The glass behind you shatters and breaks, and you would swear that some of the mortar that made up the outside of this building just crumbles under its onslaught. However, the rest of your internals do not seem to be disrupted by this thing's attack, muffled as it is by a solidified shadow. And it is your turn again.
Alright. Yeah, this is probably gonna get seen, unfortunately. Well, hopefully that's all that D10 was for.
No, it's for no reason, can't you see?
Mm. Right. Tim will tighten the net and then yank.
Alright. That sounds like an athletic strength test to me, with Shadow Play as your modifier.
Okay, and I'm going to spend a point of Vitae to supercharge my strength.
Okay.
Hold on, I need to check how many extra dice that is.
Not a problem.
Birthday burp.
A random noise for a second there.
I just muttering to myself, birthday bourbon.
Ooh, birthday bourbon.
Nice. Ah, yeah. +2 to strength, so.
Sweet, go for it then.
Fuck 'em up.
Strength athletics with a +4, yeah?
It's whatever your Shadow Play modifier is, yeah.
I got 2 successes on taming it earlier and then 2 with the extra strength, so.
Yep, go for it then. Well, I mean, you made it. You pull and you yank, and this thing has no way to defend itself from a net made of solid shadows. The body drops, and you're faced with essentially just a horrifying ghostly smear. Let's see, do I have a cool picture for it? Yeah, here we go. It appears to be a woman made of shadow. She is thrashing and fighting to try and pull their way out of this net. Although they have the same colour as the net, you can make out the distinctive differences in their lines. This individual has gone from like certainty to rage to horror to just more rage in a short period of time, and is effectively at your mercy because this individual is not powerful enough to utilize powers when they're just a shadow.
Thank fuck this gamble paid off.
It hasn't paid off yet. Do you have to wait for Plan B?
See, that bit of the gamble paid off.
Yes. Part A of this 2-part gamble has paid off.
Do you want to go back to the werewolves for a bit?
Yeah, sure. Do you need to do some thinking on this part?
Yeah.
Alright, so...
I'm okay with that.
in the middle of an Applebee's, Kara, you're freshly dressed up and looking good. Joseph Hannah is about to arrive on a bicycle, but when you get in there first, you detect the smell of death. Not an uncommon thing to smell in an Applebee's. That place practically reeks of mortality on most times, but you recognize this more specifically as the smells of both the undead and far too much Axe body spray.
Oh boy.
There's
I
a
wonder what it could be.
Yeah, there is a blonde, slightly pudgy figure at the front. What do you mean I can't have a table? I can get any table I want, isn't that true, baby? And this old waiter at the front of a little desk goes, I apologize, but the tables are currently full and unavailable. There's a party that was just due to arrive, but they haven't arrived yet. Are you sure there's nothing I could do to change your mind? Nothing at all. He's blocking your way, Kara.
Let's see. I'll pipe up and say, maybe you should call ahead.
Like,
It's a busy night.
call ahead? I've never had to call ahead to get in anywhere. I can get in the most complicated nightclubs in the middle of the town of San Pesaro. I think I can get
Or-
into an Applebee's.
Or you could wait like 15 minutes and it's an Applebee's, man. Somebody will clear out.
Wait to get a table?
Yeah, it's an Applebee's. You're gonna have to wait.
Oh, how very tragic. He looks like instead of being told something sensible that you just struck him bodily, like hand over his heart. It's always like this. And I thought you, someone different from these mortal plebeian bastards, hey, would understand the kind of plight we go through.
Wait, what does he mean by that? Is he identifying me as a werewolf?
Yeah, he can smell the bork on you. You're just another one of us poor wounded souls.
No, I'm pretty healthy, not wounded.
It's a shame how people will lie to themselves. I suppose, though, if I can't get a table thanks to this mortal plebeian, hey, then I will have to take my handsome self elsewhere. However, baby, if you ever want to hang out for a little while, perhaps I'll have a free moment for you. And he reaches into a pocket and pulls out a card with a number on it.
You could not handle it.
Does the card have a picture of his face on it when Tim doing the finger
Yeah.
guns?
Of course it does. And it says, how's my driving on the card with a number.
It does not, however, have raised lettering. He's not that fancy. He's just a player.
I can't afford an embosser, are you crazy?
Yeah. Keep that in mind, buddy.
I'm sure you will. I'm
Look
sure.
over his shoulder. Yeah, I have a reservation too.
I'm
Just called ahead.
I'm sure you will. You won't be able to forget about me, baby. And he will
Sorry,
saunter
who are
past
you
you, pretending not to hear. The person standing front desk looks at you, just kind of thankful that you've made him fuck off.
Did you even tell him the wait times?
No,
What are the wait?
there aren't any. He just looked like an asshole. Please, come on in.
I don't blame you.
He like points at one of the tables in the corner. There's a free spot there. Order whenever.
I'm waiting for somebody. If anybody comes in that looks like they hide in bathrooms, send them my way.
He pauses and goes, I don't know. I don't think we'll have any tables free for someone like that.
Weedy guy, kind of nerdy.
Oh, okay. Alright, fair enough. And yes.
Kind of has a feminine name.
Uh-huh.
Send him my way.
Okay, then. And yeah, not more than 5 minutes later, you're able to have gotten yourself set up in a table and even ordered some food, whenever you want. When Joseph Hannah arrives.
Josephina.
Josephina arrives. You there, whatever, Coon?
Yeah, I am.
Excellent. You arrive at the Applebee's. There is a Kara waiting at a table.
Joseph sort of laughs, just casually strolling in. I mean, it's Applebee's. No one's gonna stop me.
Very true.
Yeah,
He there's a dude at the front who's just like he was about to make a phone call like to just someone else. He pauses, like putting his hand over a receiver, and then looks at you and goes, "Oh right, yeah," and will indicate indeed Kara sat over there at the table before making his phone call. Looks like you're expected. Ooh, your reputation precedes you.
Joseph scoots in. He's carrying a backpack full of a bit of stuff, and he doesn't look winded or anything like that. It was just a bicycle ride through the city.
Yeah. You're a Bork. You may not be the Borkiest Bork, but you're made of tougher stuff than most people.
He opens up with Applebee's, huh?
Yeah, it's the most generic restaurant in the city.
Could show something like maybe Arby's or something.
It's fast food. Here, have a fry. I think they're fresh out of the microwave.
Hannah continues to complain. It could have been like McDonald's or something. I would have taken McDonald's lunches on a French fry.
Yeah, but can you get a beer at a McDonald's?
Got me there. I don't think you can. I don't know, Taco Cabana?
I don't know. Next time you can choose the place.
Alright. So you're probably wondering why I tried to contact you and everything in the first place. I figured I'd probably
I
follow up
imagine it has
since-
something to do with you blowing up a bunch of vampires and then disappearing on me when there was a claimed that still needed to be killed in that building.
Claimed? Double checks notes on his phone. Oh, right. Yeah. I sort of just wanted to help out a little bit. I didn't really have too much time anyway. I figured it might be good and polite to contact you after. But at that time, I was sort of just there through mere coincidence.
You coincidentally snuck into the compound of a bunch of vampires and coincidentally blew them up.
Well, not exactly coincidentally, but I keep myself prepared.
Right. All right. Well, look, I'm on a hunt. I'm trying to get rid of some shady spirits, and she'll look rather pleased with herself for a second. The vampires call them Strix.
Which every owl. Well, of course, you mean owls?
It's just kind of that educated. I mean, he did have to look up what claimed were.
Strix. I know the meaning of that word, but I don't think you're just hunting for regular old owls.
Like I said, spirits. Sort of spirits. They're in a weird gray area.
I did notice when I went to the location, the spirits seemed frightened for some reason.
And the
Does
whole
that-
city's been on edge. In
I
fact,
see.
going to the spirit world. Lately,
Yes, she's possessed!
and it's kind of barren.
She's not possessed. She took a bite of the food.
Had to cool her mouth off. It's like a hot pocket, simultaneously freezing cold and molten lava at the same time.
Ugh.
I've never had that problem with hot pockets. I love them.
I've definitely had that problem with hot pockets.
Yeah, no taste.
I don't know. Haven't had that many in my life.
Hot pockets are delicious.
Never had a hot pocket.
There's something. They just kind of like. I learned at some point that bee pheromone and hot pockets. So I don't know.
The Bee Movie and Hot
Or-
Pockets?
Or bee pheromone, beetle pheromone. That's it.
Beetle pheromone?
Yep. For
What
some
are you
reason,
talking about?
there's beetle pheromone and hot pockets.
Okay.
There are frogs in the sewers.
Well, any processed food has a legal limit on how much bug parts it can contain. It's not surprising.
Hell, cheap wine has a bunch of ground up spiders and shit in it. Just it happens.
That's usually why they filter it.
Because they don't hand pick cheap wine. They use machines.
Remind me never to drink wine. I mean, I've never been a wine person. But
What's wrong with wine? Wine is okay.
I don't
Eh.
drink that much
Yeah.
wine despite
I-
coming from California, but we
I
have
like-
a bunch of really good wines and a lot of really good wine. Like above $10, you're gonna get some okay, at least here because wine is pretty cheap. So is brandy,
Yes.
but I drink more brandy than I do wine.
Getting back.
I
on track.
prefer sweeter drinks. Anyway.
'Cause we gotta go
Wine's-
drink Cosmos at
Well,
some point.
See?
But anyway,
Wine has got the bitterness. Anyway. So yeah, I'm hunting these things called Strix. They're kind of like vampires, but they're ghosts, but they're spirits, but they're dead, but they're not alive. I don't know. Shit's fucked up. I'm trying to kill them.
My area of specialty or expertise doesn't really pertain too much in spirits. But if there's something harming the spirits in the area, I'd be happy to help. I'll just tell my lodge I'm taking sort of a vacation. I think I've earned it, certainly.
Lodge, huh? You got a pack?
Yeah, I definitely do.
do you have a
I'm-
pack?
Wait, pack.
A pack is like your immediate, like,
It's like you're essentially your crew.
Yeah, we're sort of the techies and amongst Iron, so I have a lot of buddies who went to the same college as me, who also were, werewolves. Joseph sort of gestures in the air.
well, there goes my chance to recruit Joseph into a pack.
Yep.
Weren't
They-
anything too big. If you have something fancy that we could look at, we'd certainly be up for it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's an editable handout now called Joseph Hanna's Nerd Crew. If you ever want to put in details about various pack members that you have, I'm going to limit it since it's a pack of NPCs to 5 NPCs.
It's him and the leaders of his WoW guild.
Yep. Okie dokie.
Curiously enough, none of them play Worgen.
Yeah, no, they find it a bit insensitive.
So, they're probably hordes, let's face it.
Yeah. They all play Tauren women. You
Oh,
want-
no, nobody plays Tauren
It's
women.
true they don't, and
Nobody plays
it's a
Tauren.
shame because they're
They're
adorable.
the ugliest character model.
It is a shame.
Drawn.
Yeah.
Drawn.
Drawn, they're
they're
fucking
cute.
wonderful, but yes, no,
But
you're
the
right.
character models are hideous.
I mean, the worst is the gnomes. You mean a potato-headed small child?
No. You can't. I play a gnome,
Oh,
or I
you
played a gnome
shame.
before I switched.
Shame.
Before I switched to horde.
Shame.
Horde is mostly
Gnome.
undead dudes, blood elf chicks, and then like a spattering of orcs, and then whenever anyone wants to play druid, they just play fucking what are they? The trolls.
Great.
Whoever plays male blood elves is just
Yeah, there's a
They're
lot
just
of.
fuckboys.
yeah.
I would say the horde has a pretty more even split between males and females, because there's a lot of people who want to be like, oh, the muscular orc guy, yeah, or the big
Yay.
taunt.
Well, yeah, on my server, anyways, back before they had that server mesh. But now I wouldn't know because Kanathis is Alliance, so I just played Alliance. Though I need to play that again.
Yeah. No, you don't. No one needs to. No one needs to at all. Let it die. Alright. Continuing on.
So yeah, so that's what I'm hunting, and my partnership with the vampires kind of led me there.
Well, if you want any help from, werewolves and such with this hunt, I'd be pretty excited to help out. It seems like it was pretty fun, like coming in that night, using my drones and something. People usually don't really take that kind of thing amongst, us wolves and all that. But I like to make gadgets like that can help out and, help us in dangerous situations so we don't have to put our necks out too far. I have a lot of gadgets that can help out with that. I've done a bit of surveillance and stuff like that. So if you ever need an area scouted out or anything like that, you need things to be safer, I'm probably your guy. And
Perfect.
if you have any characteristics that could be helpful in identifying strikes, I think I can probably see about checking the city surveillance and seeing if I can find traces of them everywhere or somewhere or something. Maybe it might result in something.
All I know is that they possess corpses. I have no idea what they look like in the real world. The spirit world, they look like horrible, hideous owls that make no sounds.
It
Which,
sounds as though us traveling the spirit realm might be more productive than me using gadgets.
would not recommend that, at least by yourself. I was just in the God, it's like fucking whack the Nick. Just showing up in random spots in the city. You have to whack him to get him to disappear.
Cage, go away. Nicholas, another day.
Yeah, I was just in the spirit world. Got the sense of being hunted. Just managed to get out in time before they struck. Yeah, if you go in, just have an exit strategy. But I don't recommend going in by yourself.
Yep.
But hey, it's up to you. I'm gonna be meeting up with the vampires again tonight. So if you want to tag along, get some insight, ask the right questions, whatever. The ones I'm meeting up with, they're okay-ish. You don't have to blow them up. Currently.
I try not to.
Doesn't try very hard.
Well, that is, I try not to be indiscriminate when it comes to that kind of thing. Honestly, that was actually the first time I've used a gadget. I'm glad it worked properly. I've had a few field tests here and there, but I was worried that sudden kinetic impact might cause it to explode prematurely. It seems as though that most people just ignore a little drone floating through a werewolf smashing into things, and all that stuff going on. And I'm sure they didn't expect it to explode.
If only you could keep footage of those motherfuckers burning.
Yeah, I don't think they expected that. Hell, the vampires I was with weren't expecting it.
Fair. Speaking of vampires and of owls, so Timmy, you ready to reap what you sow?
As much as I ever will be, I guess.
Excellent. There we go. Okay, so you have a spirit. The spirit of an owl. It looks like a very angry woman made of smoke and shadows, with big, wide owl eyes. They are trapped within a net of your own creation, unable to fight back now that they no longer have a body to possess and control.
Yeah. So, what's going to happen is that some bits of the net are going to start unpicking themselves. There's still going to be enough to hold her there, but like one in every 3 or every 4 strands comes loose, and they're going to start going in, and they're going to start trying to pull her into little pieces. Little bite-sized chunks.
Okay. Give me a shadow play test. You have a -3 because of her body.
Do I still have a +2 from earlier?
Yeah, you still have all your other bonuses, just take a 3 off of that for essentially her own form trying to maintain itself.
Okay.
Nearly an exceptional success. Wow. Okay. So yeah, it takes some time. It's a lot more force involved than you suspected. It starts to feel like, when you just approach trying to cut meat with the wrong kind of knife. Right now, someone's getting the exact same situation trying to cut into an Applebee's steak. Like, right now, the struggle is real in both ends.
Yeah, and actually, as I'm doing this, I'm gonna walk around the side and back of. Actually, I would have seen it before. Does the building back onto another street, or is there like an alley or something?
There is an alleyway there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start walking around to the alleyway, and I'm gonna drag the desiccated corpse along as well.
Sure. We're able to just end up over here, around the back, where there is a kitchen door that is likewise taped over and boarded up, and there is a dumpster that appears to have been rifled through by the police. The entire time that you're dragging her, like, pieces are starting to come away from the Shadow's body. She starts thrashing and screaming and yelling in a voice that you can hear perfectly clearly, but you suspect is not really made for mortal ears. It feels awful, like a cold syrup is just trickling into your brain. Her voice is not a nice thing. It settles into you like pins and needles. If you had a heartbeat, it would be just pounding away wildly.
Fuck.
Damn thing. Be quiet and take this. You know, deep inside, this is as close to what you want as you will ever get.
Let's see here. Does she realize what's going on? She's probably too young. Well, okay, no. She has a good grasp on what is actually happening. She doesn't have the context behind it. Like, she can feel the sensations of what's going on here. She thrashes against the net and speaks in more cohesive terms. You will regret this.
Perhaps. But you regret every chance you don't take.
Have you ever tried walking in the sun? Maybe you should have given that one a go, you damned fool.
Oh, when I have a few dozen of your brethren alongside you, perhaps.
Okay. Her body starts to pull away and crumble into more pieces severed by this rope. Although they're currently loose, you'll need to find a way to draw them within you.
Yeah. So as she's breaking apart, because if she goes completely, then it's going to be too late. I need to work out how to do it now.
Correct. If she just breaks into pieces, then you've just got essentially a destroyed Strix, which is not a bad thing, all things considered, but it is probably not going to achieve what you're after here.
Would probably be the better outcome, but
But not the coolest one.
yeah. So, as the bits are breaking off, oh, if I was a master of tenebration, I know exactly how to do this, but oh well. Let's see. Tim is going to have some of the ropes stop breaking her and have him start bringing chunks towards his mouth, and then it's going to have them entwine around the chunks nice and tight, and then twist.
Wait, is it going to look like a shonen hero when they just eat ramen really quickly and chunks of meat somehow gravitate upwards with the ramen strands?
Yeah. Except, instead of chopsticks, it's tentacles of shadow that are at the same time doing awful things to a spirit woman.
Nice.
So, going to try to twist so that the tentacles go from shadow to solid, and hopefully, as they are entwined round, pull the fragments of her into, if not a true solid, something Tim can start to consume.
Alright. The process of consuming this individual physically is surprisingly easy. Easier than you would have possibly expected it. Once they've been separated away from their body, though, it's simply nothing more than just this thing's being that you're consuming, and its being has no power over you. Indeed, you've proven you have all of the power over it. And it feels cold. You've drank of blood. You remember, of course, quite well eating and drinking things. It's as if you were trying to drink ice cream that hated you. Like, the faster that you eat at this thing's being as well, it starts to ache deep down in your core, like freezer burn of the soul. And it is a terrible, terrible sensation. It is at the same time wholly invigorating. This thing's being is powerful. It's powerful in ways that you can't quite comprehend. Like, there is a physical energy to it that you could draw into yourself and push around as though it were the very blood in your veins. It isn't. It doesn't feel like vitae. It doesn't feel like the energies, your blood potency, that you utilize whenever you wish it. Feels like cold something else. And you drink it down, and eventually the strands of this net of shadow no longer... Nice. The strands of this net no longer need to break this person down. She's being practically drawn into you. Once you think that you've got about half of the mass of this thing's soul. It's almost as though gravity itself is drawing the rest into you. You can just essentially rest back and receive.
No. That it's being broken up completely as I can do. I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna break it up, and really hope it being broken up means it is actually dead and consumed, and it isn't just going to possess me.
Fair enough. As more and more of it ekes away and this invigoration finds its way into you, along with this cold, clammy feeling of the grave doublefold. You feel another pressure. It's like a spiking behind your eyes. It doesn't hurt. It feels like that sensation that you would have gotten, reminds you of times long past sitting up, writing way late into the night, like sinus pressure building up. And all you could really use is just a fucking good rest, because that's honestly just all you really needed, all you were really craving. And then that sensation is gone, and you're looking at an empty net of shadow. Can you please give yourself a merit and call it shadow potency and put 1 dot in it?
Yep.
And in your second page, I would like you to input the following information.
Second page?
Yeah, just you can add in a box.
I mean, I could put one in the third page, but just isn't a roll.
Okay, yeah, sure. There you go. Sorry there for secret typies. But enjoy. I'll close that. And the figure is gone. They have vanished. You are stood in an alleyway with an empty net and a dead body. Congratulations, you have diablerized a Strix.
Yeah.
It isn't essentially just a diablerie. Indeed, what you did is, as far as is concerned, not forbidden. Because you did not devour the heart's blood of your kind. But you definitely did something, and it doesn't feel 100% right, but it does feel very powerful.
So, what will shadow potency do?
Okay, let's pull up my bookie books, bits and pieces. There are powers that Strix have, and their modifier is a thing that only Strix have as well, called shadow potency. They have that instead of blood potency. It is something that you can get more dots put into it by diablerizing more Strix, or by methods that would naturally increase a vampire's blood potency. If you do things that are of a particularly Strixy bent at the same time of them, it instead might be your shadow potency that goes up instead. Also, you lose 1 humanity. That is just automatic. There is no turning away from that whenever you diablerize something.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. We're going to give you a shadow power. That is Strix exclusive. Ooh, which one? Okay. Okay. Yeah, look, there's a this qualifies for you if you want to increase your shadow potency. They gain 1 dot every 100 years, and may only additionally increase it through diablerie, either possessing a vampire who commits amaranth on another vampire, or by feeding from and diablerizing another Strix in shadow form. In your case, this advanced shadow feeding you did is equivalency. That's why I pulled that rule out. And also your shadow potency never goes down. Like, even if you sleep, you'll always have shadow potency.
You're gonna have to find increasingly stronger and stronger Strix.
Nope. Actually, quite a weird thing is that unlike Kindred, they never suffer from feeding restrictions as they become more potent, even when embodied in a vampire host. An elder, suddenly and inexplicably able to feed from animals or mortals, is very likely possessed. In this case, it's something that you might have to keep secret when you become an elder, but you can drink from whatever the fuck you want.
I meant, like, I thought it wouldn't increase your
the potency.
Blood potency above what the thing you're feeding on has.
In a way, it's more complicated, sort of, because likewise, like blood potency.
You just capture a shitload of low-level Strix.
He could.
I mean, strictly speaking, there's nothing stopping you from doing that with Kindred.
Strictly speaking?
I was literally about to say that. Beaten to the punch
But
this
yeah,
entire week.
for second edition Diablo rolls, you can just eat like 5 Neonites and you can increase your blood potency, and you can do that whatever your current potency is.
Second edition, you're terrible. Why? Why aren't elders just doing that all the time? I know diablerie is fucking illegal, but Christ, you can power yourself up like crazy. And once you're all powerful, it's like, I don't care that I broke the rules. I can take.
All right, let's find you a dread power. That's what they were called. I'm gonna give you 1 dread power. By the way, the banes that naturally affect vampires are double so on you. I mean, the starting banes are sunlight and fire. So sunlight and fire is double deadly, but that's pretty inconsequential. They were already deadly as fuck to begin with.
They were actually already double deadly to me. I'm a Kaibit.
Huh. Then they're triple double deadly? No, actually they aren't. They just stay double deadly. They're
quadruple deadly.
Quadruple deadly. You're deadly to the power of deadly.
Yeah, like fire and sunlight automatically gave me an extra aggravated damage anyway.
Yep. Alright, let's see here. Alright, you don't have the possessing powers yet, because that's very confusing and challenging.
I figure I have to at least be able to turn into a shadow before I can...
Correct, yes. You can, when you could do shadow form. I mean, shadow form is technically a Strix power, but you have a corporeal body that you can't leave behind.
I have shadow form as my level 5 power scout.
Sweet. No, that's what level 1 Strix to do. So yeah, if you unlock shadow form, you can possess like a Strix. You essentially will be making yourself into a slightly less hateful Strix. That's kind of strange.
Demi-Strix.
Demi-Strix.
Guess it's getting next on the chopping block.
Strix hater.
Okay, so you can pick one of the following. They cost you a vitae to do them. You can carry some of the Strix's disposition for humanity. Even humans have a small part of themselves, however, that the owls find worthy. This power allows the Strix to sense the worst part of a human's nature. It is an instant action that costs 1 vitae. That is 1. And should you succeed at the roll, you intuit their vice, integrity, and the presence of any integrity-related conditions. Against vampires, it will read their humanity and humanity-related conditions and what their banes are. Just so you're aware, that's a level 1 power. All Strix can tell what a fucking vampire's bane is, if they have any advanced ones. Yeah, so that's one of the powers you could choose. There is Ambition's Source. Everyone wants something. All beings move through a web of potential futures, seeking their own perfect little outcomes. A Strix can sense these forces, allowing it to offer a victim just the right thing, or bedevil every attempt to achieve it. Instant 1 Vitae. If you're successful, you can learn one of their aspirations per success, starting with the longest term and progressing into short-term goals. You can learn people's aspirations. Like, NPCs have them too. Things that they want to accomplish. That's 1 Vitae.
Okay.
And the other ones you don't have enough shadow potency to pick from yet. Those are your available dread powers. And yes, should you be able to achieve shadow form through any means, you have the ability to do shadow form as per strict rules. And when you're a shadow, you can drink breath. But there you go. So which one are you going to take? See the cracks or ambition source?
I'm gonna go with Ambition's Source. That's actually terrifying for an Invictus vampire to have.
There you go, those are the rules for those. So you may spend 3 Vitae to gain a single willpower point once per scene. That's a thing that all Strix can fucking do. And you have Ambition Source. Spend 1 Vitae to learn the aspirations of the target, starting with the longest term, progressing to the shortest. It is a finesse plus resistance roll, minus the victim's composure. Congratulations. Timothy Lee. Although the costs haven't caught up with you yet, nor do you know if they ever will or when they ever will, you are possessive of new powers and new strengths. You can feel them weighing down on your mind as though it were a knowledge you always had but didn't remember.
Yeah. I think the first thing Tim is going to do is laugh like a complete madman.
Keikakudori!
Also, finesse and resistance aren't things I have. Those are Strix only.
In your case, then... I mean, it's... No, you have finesse and resistance. They're the attribute columns, so you pick the attributes that you want that apply to those columns.
Oh, literally.
So, if you could...
Any...
Yes, correct. So it's a finesse plus a resistance. So it could be wit's resolve, it could be wit's stamina, it could be resolve dex. Like, you know, you could... It's one of those columns, and it's based on how you go about it.
Okay.
Yep. Strix a king, Strix a king. So yeah, you go full madman laughter in the back of a slightly trashed fancy French restaurant. I've diablerized a creature made of shadows, born entirely of the hatred for its own kind and humanity in equal measure. What's the worst that could happen?
A lot of things.
Fine, it's fine.
I'm sure it's totally a-okay.
Yeah, you know, it's not like Kara joined up with you guys to destroy the Strix or anything.
Hey, he ate a Strix. It's fine. Totally within the purview of destroying Strix.
Exactly.
What is it doing? He became a Strix.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You were supposed supposed to join this, to destroy the Strix, not join them. It's over, Timothy. I have the high ground.
And then you turn into an owl. Shit! Fuck! I've lost the high ground. So yeah, say Claire, because it's been a while since we had ourselves some Claire time. Whilst this is ongoing, there are 2 werewolves at an Applebee's. There is a vampire diablerizing a Strix.
They're gonna regret it if they try the mozzarella sticks.
A mozzarella Strix?
The mozzarella sticks at Applebee's.
The mozzarella Strix.
That cheese owl. He'll be back. So yeah, Claire, what you gonna do?
I probably shouldn't have just Giles' theme playing in the background for this, should I?
Probably not.
Giles' theme fits everything, though.
It does, but not this.
Dun,
the
dun,
exception
dun,
to
drink your sister's soul. Do 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 do.
Alright, hang on. The Google Docs is not working.
Oh no. Guru.
I wanted to make sure that it was this game that I want. Oh no! That's the other game that I need to do something in the beginning of the session.
Cool.
That's in fact Borks. So, uh, yep, nope, that can be done later. All right. So at this point, Claire is still with Rara,
Yep.
I believe. Yeah, we had just finished up with a meal. And how long would you say that have taken?
You tell me.
I don't know. Hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that.
Okay.
Not too incredibly late.
Okay, sure. Yeah, a couple of hours time. You go off with a rare on the feed.
Especially since they got fed on by 2 vampires and one was incredibly hungry.
Yep.
So I'm assuming their stamina is somewhat shot.
Yeah, they're they're diminished is a good way to describe that situation.
And yeah, I think I already added their contact information. So yeah. So Claire, when she gets back in the car with Herrera, is going to say, I had the secondary reason why I wanted you to come out with me tonight.
Yes.
I need to go talk to my sister.
Ah, of course. You've been wondering what to do about her. And you've come to some decision then, I take it.
The city has become incredibly dangerous as of late, and now she has no knowledge of what's going on around her. I haven't been able to hunt down whatever the thing is that she is so afraid of, and I would at the very least arm her against what's going on in San Pasado. I owe her that much.
I see. You wish to child her or ghoul her?
I think I would likely give her the choice. I don't think I would immediately child her, but give her a taste of what our life is before simply being drawn in. As you know, it wasn't as if I was given a choice. I would prefer her to have that.
Understandable then.
And I would like you to come along with me, not simply as support, but perhaps at her place you'd be able to sense what I could not.
Understood. Okay.
Alright. Yeah. Claire never hid from Herrera where Cassandra lives.
Yeah. She'll have the driver take you up there. in her fancy schmancy car.
Yep. All right. I know I was gone for the beginning of the session. Sorry again about that. I literally only found out that I couldn't jump into the call at like 4:15
Yep, that's fine.
because it'd say that I was in there, but there'd be a little red thing at the bottom that said no route. So, yeah. Was there anything that happened or anything Claire was made aware of before this point?
Okay. There's been some balk time, and then Timothy's plan was done on his own initiative entirely. So there's nothing that Claire's missed, so far as I'm aware.
All right. And aspirations are the same for Claire. She never, she still has 3. So.
Yep. Those being reuniting with Touchstone, which you're about to do now properly, finding a worm's den for the Defiant, and finding a skilled human to ghoul, which you might be able to turn into both.
Yep. Which I actually didn't think about when I made that.
Hooray.
So, you know.
I mean, she's not actually that skilled, to be fair. I don't think you'll be able to score with her. That sounds a bit dirtier than
no,
intended. She's a student.
Yeah, but she's actually she's not that much younger than Claire, and she is like a very skilled engineer.
Okay.
And unlike Claire, is she's basically a taller, much more fit Claire.
I see. Alrighty. So yeah.
Her sister was a nerd, but she was a nerd who actually bothered,
The nerd who did
going
rock
out on
climbing.
runs and, yeah.
Of course. Okay. Can you give me a chance die as the car approaches?
That's just a D10, right?
Correct.
And that one. Oh, hey, not in that one.
But also nothing. That's chance dies are just looking for 10s as well.
Yeah, I know. I was just kind of expecting a 1. Cool.
Alright, so yes. You arrive at the outside of her house. There is nobody in the streets, and, it's a student place, and people have just actually finished pounding out their finals, so it is quiet inside.
Alright, cool. Hang on. I'm gonna very quickly mute general channel.
Sure.
Alright. So, yeah. Claire is going to somewhat nervously step out of the car and walk up to her sister's place.
Sure thing. As you approach, there's the familiar smell of your sister, mixed with the scent of whoever it was that she was with previously, so.
Nice. And before we get super into this, because this is going to take a while, I actually need to take a piss.
Go on then. We shall use this opportunity for a quick drinks break for everyone, because I need to do very much the same myself. And so we'll be right back. I'll put some music on for Strymon.
They get a pass.
I'm back! Yay!
Yeah, I literally just told him that we had to explain what an Applebee's was and how bad it is, and he was like, "Yeah, I know, but again, free booze." It's like, all right, man, go get trashed. So yeah, they both took off.
Fair enough. Okay.
Next time I meet up with Joseph Hanna, we're gonna meet up at a Baskin Robbins.
Woo!
Actually, Baskin Robbins is the only place where I can actually get a bourbon milkshake now. Pisses me off because
You know,
I really don't like milkshakes at all. But if it's a vanilla milkshake with a proper amount of bourbon, I love it. Because bourbon has hints. One of the things it has is vanilla in it. And
Usually.
it really mixes well.
Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah, a lot of bourbons, and a lot of the bourbons I have access to. Because remember, I'm on the West Coast, so I only have a couple.
That's a fair point.
you know, I bet Baskin Robbins doesn't even have any like vampires, werewolves, or anything working for them. I bet it's all humans.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, and it's
Baskin
like
Robbins.
Stepford family as well. It's real weird.
Baskin Robbins always finds out.
Yeah, I was thinking Red Robin. Never mind.
Oh, now I'm disappointed. I thought that there was a place that people go to, like a fucking ice cream shop that people go to also get bourbon. I was like, that sounds great.
No, I was thinking of I get those.
I figured you just added the bourbon in yourself after.
Which is awesome.
I do that all the time as well, but the thing is, you either have to, when I go to Cold Stone Creamery, I'll do that, but I just have to hand off the milkshake to a friend and have them drink it down, because I will not be able to, drink down, 8 ounces worth of milkshake before the sugar gets to me.
Fair. I have here my lovely, lovely flask that has gotten me through more than a few random places that do stuff like that.
My favorite story about having a flask is I went down to, hop, skip, and jump down to San Francisco, and it was for Fleet Week, so the U.S. Navy was there, and my friend is a huge, huge Navy nerd, right? So he wanted me to go because he didn't want to go alone. So I went with him, and I brought my flask with me, and then I realized they're making everyone dump containers, and I got to the front, I was like, well, I have this flask, and he's like, I'll tell you what. If you drink the entire flask right now, I will let you take the flask aboard the ship, because I saw you drink all of the contents. And I was like, we've been standing outside. It's been really hot because it's California and there's no breeze in the bay. And I've been grumpy all day because of that. I'm just going to do this. So for 5 minutes, I was just trying to slam, 12 ounces into the flask. And then all of a sudden, the line didn't bother me anymore.
Hooray!
And the security people were just laughing because it was like, I've never just seen someone sit there and chug a flask.
Yay!
It was fun.
Good times.
Oh man.
I have a thermos full of basically paint stripper, or I'll drink it all. Fuck.
Hey man, don't knock rock gut.
I will knock rock gut, but it will get you there when you need it to.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't knock it.
No, you do. You knock it back, because if you don't knock it, then you might actually risk tasting it. You don't want to do that. Oh, God. Anyway, so, picking up here. Claire, you are outside your sister's home, and you've knocked. There is a brief pause.
Aurera's with me, by the way.
And Aurera's there. Cool. She stands like a couple steps back. She wants you to obviously handle the majority of this. And there is a soft, a muted barking sound, and then the sound of a familiar voice, your sister's voice, going, "Get out of the way! Come on, shoot, shoot!"
At least I don't have Bane of Animals.
This is very true. The door opens up, and there was a dog that looked like it was about to barrel into you, but it sort of stops and pauses as though it's confused. And she seems more surprised by the dog's reaction first, at it backing up a little bit, before her eyes travel upwards. And then she gasps in shock and drops the little tub that was in her hand that had ice cream in it to the ground.
Yep. She thought Claire was dead.
Yep. Her jaw works up and down a few times, and let's see here. Not 1c10. She faints.
Alright, hang on. Can I make a dexterity check to catch her before she hits the ground?
You were probably ready for it. She doesn't go down quickly. It's like a huh, and you see the eyes go back. You're like, oh shit. Yeah, no, you don't need to make a check. It's pretty mundane for you to catch her.
Alright, I'll catch her and, like, carry her over to the couch.
Yeah. The dog yipes when she starts falling, but then will catch itself as well. Or Aurora will look at you and go, that went about as well as I was expecting. How about you, Claire?
I gave it a 1 in 4 chance. At least it wasn't the she pulls out something and tries to kill me. Alright, well, come on in and close the door. We don't want to make a scene.
She'll peer at the door, makes a little sign to herself, and then we'll walk on and close the door behind you. And then she locks it. And if you ever look at her, she goes, I've been rather more careful after the first event.
Understandable. Good habit to be in. Alright. You know, I have only ever seen what people do in this situation in movies.
Aurora will sigh and just say, all you have to do is wait. They usually will come to on their own measure. Shocking her out of it isn't likely going to do you any good. There'll be adrenaline flowing and she'll panic. It's not the first time a human has fated on me. I would recommend a cup of tea. Very much a trope, if you will, but an effective trope nonetheless.
She does like tea. She hates coffee. Hence why I watched her from a coffee shop.
That's not strange at all. She'll give you a small smile. I'll keep an eye on her if you want to go about it.
Serve tea.
They do.
Yeah, I know, but she likes tea enough that she goes to like one of them artisanal tea places.
Fair enough.
Artisanal.
Artisanally crafted teas.
I've actually been there, and I will tell you that my plebeian tongue can't tell the difference.
Aw.
It's just like, this Earl Grey. Yeah, I guess it tasted better than stuff in the bag, but it wasn't worth $8. Especially because it wasn't a hot toddy. Anyways, yeah, Claire's gonna go into the kitchen and look for tea that does not have caffeine in it, like a soothing herbal tea.
Very well, yeah. And when you're going around her house, you can pick up little details. I mean, it's not exactly her house. She's there as student living. There is, like, an adjoining doorway. Like, you can go through the front entrance into her place, and then you can go into other people's places. But she has her own living space and kitchen, and that's where you're able to go into. There are a couple of photos up on the wall. There are a few cheerful ones of her, and you can see a couple of a really, really handsome-looking black dude, maybe like a year or so older than her, and they're like rock climbing retreats and other like delightful things that healthy people do in the sun. God, it just makes you fucking miserable looking at how happy those bastards are. Jesus Christ. You see all of that, and it's like, wow, this is a very well-adjusted person that you're seeing here.
Claire's pretty happy with Aurora.
And you see something else. It's on the wall, and it appears to have been beaten up a few times, but lovingly placed into a frame. And it's a picture of someone you're very familiar with. It's you. Maybe about a year before you had turned. And it's you and her on a family trip that you'd been on. Can barely remember the details of it. It would have been an inconsequential day at the time, but it's obvious that this is a well-worn and tended-to photo of you.
Yeah, she's in her last year of for her degree, so yeah, makes sense that she has all this space.
Yep. Yeah, and as I say, like there are other attached rooms, and probably some of those guys have like the communal rooms as well. But in her case, she's got the nicer one.
All right. Well, Claire will like pause at it and then kind of shake herself out of the reverie and move on and start making tea.
Alrighty.
And then when it's done, she's gonna set it on like the coffee table next to the couch and then pull up a chair and wait.
Yeah, it doesn't take particularly long. Aurora is the first person to notice that she's starting to come to. She asks if you'd like her to still be in the same place when you begin this conversation or not.
It may be important for you to be here.
She looks like modestly uncomfortable about this family moment, but then she'll smile and nod and settle back in the chair again.
Especially since trying to convince, you know, of mind.
Yeah, no. You have a specialist on humans with you. More of a specialist than you, because before, becoming a vampire, you were a nerd. Whereas her life's existence is really good human interactions because of her ghoul
She
base.
was a charismatic high priestess a long time ago.
Yep. So yeah, so she sits back and she basically looks like she owns the place when she's settled fully back into that chair and is watching as she comes to. Where?
Hello, Cass.
Her eyes go wide again. She doesn't faint, thankfully, but she looks like all the blood was suddenly just drawn out of her. Claire?
Easy. I made some tea.
I see that. What? You're not dead.
Technically, I did die, but no, I'm not dead.
You were resuscitated on scene? But no, there was a funeral and everything. What? Where have you been?
Here.
I don't follow.
I am a professor at Silverleaf. I've been in San Pasado ever since you moved here. Well, we were always. Never mind. Hang on, sorry, that was backstory that I had actually thrown out a long time ago.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Claire, wait, it
I suppose it'd be easier if you just took my hand. She's gonna reach her hand out.
She will look very confused at you and at the hand. Trembling hand reaches out to touch onto yours, and it's warm, it's trembling, it's nervous. It's like the barest brush, more than anything.
And Claire is cold as the grave.
She'll draw her hand away and then bring it close again and grip on properly. Are you still are you unwell? I don't. I'm sorry, Claire. I don't understand.
Claire will slip her hand under her shirt to where her heart should be, and just, you notice anything missing?
And she'll tilt her head slowly to the side. What happened, Claire?
Remember that thing we promised each other when we were little? That if vampires were real, we would turn each other? Well, we had a lot of promises when we were little.
Her confusion transforms into, like, stock disbelief.
Claire will open her mouth and elongate her fangs.
No, wait a second. There's a thing that humans usually do when someone just goes a bit vamp in front of them. It usually tends to be some kind of test on not freaking their shit out. Let's see if she...
At least it's not as bad as werewolf.
Yeah, no, yeah, she doesn't go to fucking moon fever. I mean, there's a 9 in there. All right. She keeps her shit together, but has now got the shaken condition, essentially.
When a while back I was um, introduced into an opportunity for an accelerated program. My mentor was, well, eccentric. At least that's what I thought. She was nocturnal. She only paid me visits when I was doing night classes, and I slowly but surely was unable to do anything but think about her. And well, it turns out that some of the stories humans tell at night aren't all just that. Some legends turn out to be true.
But okay, it is she, and she'll point next to you as at Aurora who sat in the other chair.
She is, and then Claire will like try to think of a word. Um, Lover and girlfriend seem too shallow for what we are to each other. But yes, she's like me.
She'll speak up. I like the term partners, very all-encompassing.
Hmm. She is in fact a priestess from the Golden Age of Egypt.
Claire will again look. Sorry, Cass will look on completely fucking stunned again. Um,
I suppose that doesn't count for our promise that we made that if either of us met a prince or princess, we would share, but
um, this is still a lot to take in.
understandable. And Claire will gesture to the tea.
She'll pick up
Would you?
the cup with trembling hands and she'll take a sniff at it before sipping. She just looks you up and down, trying to get a good grasp on you. Aurora is content to sit and likewise wait. She herself has the blush of life currently active and is, for all intents and purposes, appearing as the average every old person. And she will sit there for quite some time, sitting and drinking tea and trying to think.
I have been conflicted ever since I was, well, I suppose you could say turned. We call it embracing. I didn't know what to
Got
do.
turned.
When I
I
first
didn't know
got
what
proper
to do.
turned, we got fucked up. Hmm.
I didn't know whether to tell you or for the longest time I thought the ethical thing to do would be to let you live your life without having to have, well, the rest of the nightlife introduced to you or mixed up in, you know, ha- happy life, picket fence, 2.5 kids.
Hi, but you, so you've waited all this time though to. How long? Like, have was it from the moment you were gone?
Mm, When I left, that was not of my choosing. My The person who turned me, we call them sires, she didn't let me come to see you, and I was under her power. I had no way of resisting. So it was only until after the funeral and you had gone through enough of the grieving process that she relinquished something of her control.
Wait, are you still being mind controlled by a big scary vampire then?
No, I am a. That is back when I was still, for all intents and purposes, human. I am a full vampire now. She is the leader of my order, but she does not directly control me anymore. I am under no, what's it called? A gas? A geas? How do you
Yes.
say that? Yeah, I am under no geas.
I am, however, under a buttload of geese.
So many geese. Have you seen their mouths? Terrifying creatures.
Hey man, if it's like September still or October, there's gonna and San Pasado is warm. It's only now that the geese are gonna start flying south.
You fucking nerd. Alright.
Friggin' Canada geese, man.
Alright.
We need to build a
She's.
wall, stop them from coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they need to build a mall, a sky mall.
Yeah, you talk about it as if Canada isn't keeping a wall to get us out. You know they're thinking about it.
They should.
God, this
They should just make a big, just cause an earthquake to split them off and float away to nicer places.
Hey, as long as they do the same to California and we become the NCR, we're voting on that next year.
Can't wait. So yeah,
Actually, take other states with you.
Well,
Other blue
thing
states.
is, we could take we could take Oregon and Washington with us, and then become the.
You could take Hawaii.
The new Pacific. We'll call it the New Pacific Republic.
that's pretty dope. Anyway.
Oh, but then you're NPR.
Please, please. Sko is so sleepy and wants to just get through this, for fuck's sake. It's very interesting conversation, and any other day I would absolutely be into it, but I can't. I'm so tired. So, Cass will, she will look you over and for a time seems likewise lost for words. Over the next maybe a couple of hours, she'll be plumbing you with questions about yourself and what you did and where you've been, and ask for little shows of things that are vampire-y that you can do, and then be summarily freaked out by them, but not for especially long, because obviously she asked you to do them. She was in some measure prepared to see it happen, so I don't have to make like repeated will saves for every time she was like, can you do this?
No, I can't turn into bats. Yes, some can.
Yep. And then she
Yes.
asks questions in the direction of, so why did you come now?
Multiple reasons. The first thing that drew me back to actively, well, some might say stalking, but following you around is because I know you're afraid of something. Uh, I've shown you some of what I can do, anyways, with my powers of Auspex. I know that you're afraid of something, and that something may be hunting you, and so I have been in turn trying to hunt it.
um, nothing's hunting me. I'm not scared of anything.
Hmm. It doesn't matter. I have never used my Auspex on you in any other specific way. I would never violate your privacy like that. But other things have been happening in this city that have, well, sparked this. There is a lot of dangerous things going on. Uh, the the nightlife is suddenly more active than it was, and to have you wandering around completely ignorant and vulnerable was not something I wanted you to do. I guess since you believe that I'm a vampire,
Oh,
I have
aren't
been
you? Is this where you suddenly go, haha, I finally got you? No?
No,
No.
it's only that maybe you would believe me that I am also working with werewolves.
Werewolves too?
Yes, they're not exactly like they are in the stories, though. You don't turn from being bitten, you don't. They're far more spiritual creatures rather than a cursed race like mine is purported to be. Although this is, as I've told you about what I believe in my order, this is hardly a curse.
I would say that not being able to see the sun is kind of cursy.
Mm, And even that can be beaten back. I have gone fairly far in my studies. Fire no longer wounds me as it could.
That's exactly right. Werewolves aren't real.
I still like it. Yeah. Rose
I
loves
miss,
it.
I miss
Werewolves
Rose.
are real.
I miss Rose.
I do too, which is why I'm glad I finally had an excuse to start going on Wolf Quest.
Yep.
I mean Rose Quest. We'll do it. I swear to God, third, we'll do
Rose
it.
Quest.
Hey, to be fair, it's only been a couple of days.
It's true.
so
It's true.
it's
As
not
in
long.
game time, it has not been long. It's
Very eventful.
It's been a
couple of
very
days.
eventful couple days. Actually, as we reached the end of this, it was going to turn into a periods of time are passing situation where you could progress through a few months, but it's been too packed with things you'll need to get done for that to happen.
Yep. So, yeah. And right now, a bunch of ghouls are looking for Rose. So
Yeah,
maybe we'll get some. Maybe we'll get some traction on that.
it's true. It's essentially whenever Third wants to run it.
Well, when we deal with the Strix thing, or I guess when you guys are like, "Fuck the Strix thing, we're gonna go investigate Rose."
True.
We'll probably finish the Strix storyline and then go after Rose.
It's safe now,
Or
Rose.
like
Yeah.
try to well, because Claire is half convinced because as soon as Rose said, "Oh, so wait, Strix are real," hang on, and then never called back. So, oh shit, the Strix have her.
Spoopy ghost house.
All right.
Yes, anyway. She will then go back to asking you questions. She appears tired, but that doesn't really stop her from continuing on with them. Occasionally, she'll direct some questions to rarer things about, like, her, and then it suddenly turns to more academic interest, like olden times and all of that shit, because that's kind of fucking interesting as far as she's concerned.
Claire will explain the fog of ages.
And then eventually, the conversation will round back around again to again why you've shown yourself now. If things are more dangerous out there in the dark, why would you reveal yourself?
Hmm. First of all, you always said it was always better to know and that ignorance was a cancer, but there is something else I could give you other than telling you how to defend yourself and what armaments to shield yourselves with.
Okay, I can take precautions.
As human blood empowers vampires, so does vampire blood empower humans. If you were to, say, drink from my blood, you would no longer have to. Uh, you know those moments where you're sure that you're in danger or something's up, but have you have no idea of really telling, or when you meet someone for the first time and you can't tell if they're a liar or or telling the truth or going to spike your drink.
Right, you're able to use blood to do that. Okay.
You would be able to do the same thing, including wounds that would kill any human you would be able to stitch up. And finally, due to my research in bonds and blood, if you are ever in any danger, I would know and I would be able to come to your aid.
I see.
It is not something I offer lightly, though. There is a price for everything. The price for power for being a vampire is not being able to see the sun. The price for drinking vampire blood is that you need it. It at least a bit of it must always course through you. However, if you were to wait long enough, my blood would completely pass through your system and you'd be completely human again. And as far as I know, it completely halts the aging process.
Okay, let me get this straight, Claire. Because you're doing that thing where you work around in circles of the things you actually just want to say outright because you need to explain all of them instead. You're offering me your blood, aren't you, in order to become a supernatural person who doesn't age, but is then addicted to your blood as though it were like heroin and stuff. Yeah?
Yes, basically.
Okay. Is that a thing that you don't do it much? Do other vampires do that a lot then? That would explain some people at school.
Some do. Aurora has several what we call ghouls, but they are all incredibly skilled, and the last one I met I quite liked. I, however, have never taken a ghoul, nor have I ever turned someone into a vampire.
She'll point over there at Herrera. And you, Miss Herrera, about this whole ghouling thing, you do that a lot? And at this point, Herrera will nod and confess that she is actually quite good at it. It's kind of a specialty of hers, all things considered.
I imagine she'd be quite charismatic and make it sound like it's not all that bad.
Yes, no. Maybe it's out of deference to you. She doesn't, like, you've seen her pull the pitch before, and it's very, very compelling. She is on on your behalf physically holding back from just immediately winning her over because you're fairly certain she could. Like, no one has turned down being ghouled by Herrera before. You're pretty sure that she could pull those weapons to arm on her own behalf or yours regardless. But in deference to you, she is behaving.
And while we did agree that Rara could be super powerful, I also did agree not to abuse that. So, yeah no.
Yes, in this case, she's at the same time as quote unquote not going to help you out with it. She isn't going to get in your way, of course. Indeed, she will offer as well. Likewise, if it's a bit weird, she'd be happy to be the go-between. She makes particularly powerful ghouls. She's quite good at it.
Claire will make a face at that.
She'll shrug a little bit and confess that she won't tell lies.
Well, not at that. It's my sister, you jerk.
Then she gets to have two sisters.
Implying that she wouldn't get to anyways.
Fair point. Okay. And now, let's see here. You've had a nice long conversation with her, so I'm going to give you 2 extra dice. Can you pick 2 attributes that you would like to use to represent your social approach to convincing her to ghouldom?
Claire would take, this isn't, just because I have 4 dots in it. Claire is incredibly studious-minded, and very intellectual about things. So she's going to lay out, all the benefits, always, being able to see the truth in people's hearts, always being able to make sure that you're safe, and also being able to summon a powerful older sister vampire whenever she needs it.
Okay.
So I was going to go intelligence, and then she would use what little she knows of empathy, because I imagine this is fairly...
I would say that your approach is probably empathy-based, yes. I would have been surprised if you managed to avoid it.
Trying to leverage also the fact that they were incredibly close. And 2? Modifier 2, right?
Yes, that's correct. She had essentially that modifier 2 is cool. Was part of her having the shaken condition where you had social control over her in the situation because you proved that you were the predator of this conversation.
You suck.
Nice.
Can I spend multiple willpowers? I can't remember.
No.
Can't remember. It's still going off of. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Continue.
She asks that you give her a chance to think about it a little bit longer. She promises that she won't tell anyone any vampire-y stuff, but confesses that there's things like if she does things like stop aging and all that kind of lark, she has a relationship and stuff that she quite cares for that individual as well.
I wouldn't offer it to you if I would not offer the same thing to him.
Then that is doubly so something that she would like to speak with her significant other in regards to.
Hmm.
She just
Well,
asked that you give her some time. There's obviously a lot for her to consider, and you've appeared to her quite suddenly, and she would like to sleep on it.
Very understandable. I would just be very cautious about who you tell. Not only am I breaking one of our 3 laws by telling you this, but you don't want people suddenly thinking you're insane.
She gives you a small nod, and likewise one to Herrera. Okay, I, could I have your phone number, so that I can call you tomorrow? And where are you staying?
Of course, I am staying near the college. If you ever need to get a hold of me, you can either call my number or call the college, and it will be routed to either myself or Herrera.
You've been so close this whole time.
I wanted to keep an eye on you.
Of course. Okay then. Alright, and she'll take your number, and you actually now have her phone number so you can contact her without, like just turning up at her door or stalking her.
Good night, Cassandra, and for what it's worth, I'm sorry.
She'll, like, fidget and rub her arm. Well, I mean, you should be sorry. You should have come a lot earlier if you're going to at all. Look almost a little bit disappointed, but there is a measure of relief to her there at seeing that you're alive. Like, that's some new shit, but you've obviously given her an incredible amount that she's gonna have to fucking consider and go through. It's a lot to pass.
Yeah, I understand. I was never particularly good at gauging social situations. I'll talk to you later, Cassandra.
Of course, take care. Have a good night. Morning. Both. And Miss Herrera as well. It was nice meeting my sister's partner. Herrera will smile and nod.
Alright. So, Claire's gonna leave, and then as soon as the doors close, just go. Well, that could have gotten a lot worse.
She only fainted once. That could have gone far worse.
I know that, maybe using my aspects to help with that might have been better, but I'm not breaking that trust. I've already done so much to her as it is.
Bit of a silly consideration, but I'll cede to your point on that one. Tell you what, why don't we go get a second bite to eat before we call it in for a day?
Alright. Well,
And also, you get a willpower. Congratulations.
Oh.
You've had that touchstone for that aspiration for so fucking long. Full disclosure, you'll be scoring it in at the end of this session.
Yay! Alright. And finally, she's going to text Tim. Basically gonna say that. What time is it by now? Like 1 o'clock in the morning.
It will have been probably a little bit after Timothy diablerized his tricks. So
you just text him and you just
So,
see like laughter
what
text or
would
something.
actually be about happening would be Claire would be going to text Tim, and then Tim calls.
Oh, like halfway through, like texting. Uh, I've been, I've been, and then all of a sudden the text pops up, and it's just Tim, and the only because there's obviously not photos of the people. The only thing that she has for it is like a poor. Like no, she has like a picture of the Godfather on it, like one of the
That's his
Godfather,
portrait picture. Is the
Godfather.
fucking Godfather? Nice.
Well, it's one of the Godfather's like right hand men from the movie. It's been for so long since I've seen that, but like the the
Fair enough.
Godfather's right hand man just like pops it open.
The Godmen.
The
The
Godmen.
Godmen.
Look out! It's Saul Godman.
Oh, that's what they're called, made men. Yeah,
Made men.
yeah, one of the Godfather's made men. Anyways,
Yeah, see? I'm gonna make you a made man, see? Go buy yourself a suit, see?
what are we looking at here? Yeah, there we go.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, Timothy. I was just about to text you.
Ah, how fortuitous, Claire. We need to meet urgently. Before I return to Elysium, there is something we must discuss, something that I must see if you see.
Hang on, and then we'll like mute Timothy. Aurora, Timothy wants me to meet him before we go out to eat. He sounds quite concerned, and I think he wants me to look at something and then place an emphasis on look.
All right then. I will drop you off at wherever you'd like to meet, and then head back home. Just give me a call whenever.
I'll take a cab right back home, and then we'll go hunting.
All right then. And she'll drive you on to wherever you'd like to go.
And just like flick up back the phone. Where do you want? Where are you?
I'm outside Dante's old place. If you hurry, you'll get here before the cleaners arrive. Then you'll have two things to examine.
What? What are you doing back? Never mind. And then, I'll meet you there.
Okay. It doesn't take long to be driven down there. Cass's home is honestly quite close to Le Feste Supreme. Maybe about 5-10 minutes later, Aurora is pulling up in her car. Then she'll wish Claire the best of luck and then drive onwards back to her home.
Just Timothy doesn't see the don't notice mobile, but sees Claire step out of a fucking Bentley. Just walks across he's like, Timothy outside?
Tim would be lurking in the alleyway, which actually, since Claire has like the enhanced senses thing, she'd probably be able to see him there.
I assume it's like D&D night vision where everything's in black and white.
Probably.
Normal vampire vision, no, because I say that because the Kaibeat night sight has that as a specified thing that they only see in shades of grey.
I don't know what acute senses does, so...
You just see real good and your eyes are capturing so much more light that, essentially it's the same as being able to pick up any coloured light.
Oh, alright.
Yeah, no, it just looks normal to you. I mean, it's the quality of light is probably duller, but everything still has colour in the sense that you're receiving that information through your eye thingies. What you probably noticed before then is the smell.
Is there a corpse there too?
Yep.
Alright. Timothy, what is this?
You can't tell right away? Good.
I see it's a corpse and it smells bad. I assume from your implication that it's very much not human.
Go on, take a look at it. I left it behind this dumpster here.
Dumpster baby, no.
Why don't you come here behind this dumpster and turn your back? Alright,
I'll tell you, the corpse is quite human, but the traces you might find around it, oh, they're far beyond.
I cannot see anything, Timothy. I have had a very long night. Can you please just tell me what this is about?
Yep. Okay, so first of all, Claire, to you, this looks like a body that has been dead for maybe 2 days. You can just essentially pick that up in smell and stuff. It has not been tended to. It probably wasn't a very healthy person when they first passed away. The only reason you can sense anything on zero successes is because you've encountered this kind of thing vaguely recently in the form of a Strix posing in the body of a corpse, and that corpse being a hobo corpse. It's too many coincidences not to notice it in this case.
Wonderful. You hunted down a Strix yourself then. How impressive.
Ah, Claire. You see, the reason I called you, I did call the bartender first. There are cleaners on the way. That's because I have a suspicion that the fight was seen, but you were the first I called after that. That's because, to an extent, I trust you. Not, uh, forgive me if I say not a great extent, but greater than I trust pretty much anyone else these days,
Hmm.
since
Good.
Zaire is dead.
Poor
I was
trustworthy
afraid this
Zaire.
would. I was afraid this was going to be a curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal moment for a minute there.
Claire memes on him. Style points.
Hey man, I like that show.
It's a good show.
Claire likes that show too by default.
It's true. She's a nerd. She has to.
Besides, I'm born exactly 20 years after Nathan Fillion. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Take that.
You know, I suspect the name is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't say it. It's half a thought, but not fully formed. I suspect she would like me to betray you.
She,
Do you believe in the soul, Claire? I suspect you, as a member of the Defiant, are more inclined to than most.
all research points to the fact that all creatures have souls. That's why there are spirits of the dead that Rose could see. And, though the condition of the vampire soul is murky at best, it's not wholly understood.
Tell me, how is the condition of the owl's soul understood, Claire?
Alright, so I did a bunch of research on owls. How well is it understood, Scow, or do I need to make a roll?
It is not understood even a little bit, and no roll will tell you anything. No one knows anything about the souls of owls. What you would know is conjecture based. Basically, what Timothy's approaching is essentially rhetoric. You can say anything fancy.
Everything that we have ever researched has pulled up nothing. You do realize that Strix are nebulous, right? No one's ever been able to capture one for vivisection.
Oh, Claire.
God, you're going like right down Saturday
Jesus
morning
Christ.
cartoon.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, Claire's face is just slowly going more. Jesus Christ. Are you quite alright, Timothy? Did you try drinking it? Are you high?
Try. Oh, Claire, I did not just try. I believe, by technicality, I did not violate the third tradition because it is not kindred. But in all but name, I did. And I tell you this because you are a member of the Defiant. You are driven by knowledge, a desire to know, a desire to understand everything that the Strix can do. Because if you can do what they can do, you can do as your founder did. Is that not the case?
Is this person a supernatural creature?
Yes.
Yes, but aside from that, is this person a supernatural creature? And if so, what are they?
This person is a supernatural creature. They are known as a kindred, one of the kind who walk in the blood. At least that's what it would tell you. You're picking up a wobble of something else on your radar. Not as though he were something else, but more akin that like there's a little bit of there's a blurring, a blending. Like when you take your first breath in, you're like, oh, I know that smell. There's something a bit off about it, but seems normal.
My third question: is there a Strix?
No.
So, I have looked upon you. There is something going on with what you are, but you definitely have not been possessed by a Strix. So you're saying you diablerized one?
Correct.
By the way, can Claire see actual auras when she auspecifies?
Yeah, that's it's basically like pushing a bunch of like weird necrotic blood into your eyes and being able to see auras, but the questions I ask you are like very specific. I can't literally know everything about someone when I look at it, but I can see their general aura, but I won't necessarily know what it means.
Okay then. In this case then, looking at Timothy's aura, he has always had the aura of a kindred. That aura changes based on things that he's doing. I mean, people's auras change based on whatever they're doing at any time. It looks right now as though he is doing shadow play. Like, that's what it looks to you like. As though he were wearing that cloak of shadow again. You can't see it, but it's there. It's almost as though he's just a more amplified version of himself.
Huh. My Auspex allows me to look into someone's soul, as you are no doubt aware. It's one of the reasons why Maquette aren't generally liked. But you appear to be... Are you using your shadow wizardry powers at this moment?
No. I was earlier, and this place, from last night, it still remembers me, the extent of the power I exercised, but those particular things, I am not using them now.
This is
What I
less...
believe you are detecting, Claire, that is the shard. Those are the shards of the Strix I have consumed. What we have in blood, it, and now I, have in the shadow.
Fascinating. I don't think this has ever been recorded before. Well, I congratulate you on your victory at least, but your aura does appear to say that you are constantly using your shadow manipulation. It's actually quite beautiful to look at now that I think about it.
Yeah. Why, thanks, I suppose.
I would keep this down around some members of the Defiant. Not Antoinette, but some are known to be quite vivisection-y. Though I highly doubt that they would try moving against a servant of the Invictus. It's always better to err on the side of caution. Though you may find me asking you multiple questions over the period of our partnership. You would make a very interesting research paper.
Indeed. It is that in part why I asked you here. By the raw letter of law, as I said, I did not violate the third tradition. I think, and I hope, that I am useful enough to the bartender that she will not kill me out of hand, but there are many members of the Invictus that may disagree.
Hmm,
I may
highly
be
doubt it.
forced to seek refuge with the Defiant, and
I highly doubt the bartender would betray you in such a fashion. And no, you did not violate the law against diablerie. That only counts towards members of our kind. Strix very much are not. I'm fairly certain eating our Ooh, bless you.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain eating our enemies is, well, something that we like to do as a matter of course. Except for werewolves. Don't try to eat a werewolf. Or a mage.
and I'm sure the received wisdom would say don't try to eat a Strix.
No one's ever done it before, so we don't know what happens. We definitely know what happens when you try to eat a mage. And a werewolf.
Well,
Perhaps because they are creatures of shadow and, well, maybe you're the only one who can mix our bloodline of Maquette and then your specific, our, their bloodlines and their, what are they? The two things?
clan.
Clan, yeah, our clan of Maquette, and specifically your bloodline of Kaibit, shadow manipulation, I would, it wouldn't be too far out of the, you know, the, sorry, I totally lost the word I was trying to say. It wouldn't be unheard of, not unheard of. What I'm thinking of, it's just, yeah, it's not inconceivable. There we go.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be inconceivable that you would be the only one to be able to do this, or at least members of Kaibit.
Hmm.
Perhaps a bunch of Kaibit did. There are tales of Kaibit being extremely powerful back in the olden times, or at the very least, that's what the the small elder
The Eldar!
said. The
Eldar
Eldar.
Countessa. It's cool. We'll call it here in a moment.
Yeah, well, perhaps you are right. Perhaps it is simply something that the Kaibit must enable and that all may, I will not say enjoy, but all may participate in.
We may have stumbled upon an ancient Kaibit secret. Anyone? Anyone? Okay.
Moving on.
Jackie Chan Adventures. Yeah. We may have stumbled upon an secret of your bloodline that has been lost. We will not know until more research has been done. Do tell me if you get any murderous thoughts towards other kindred, won't you? Well, any more than usual.
Yes, yes, I will. And something that I can tell you for certain about the Strix now. Once they had names. Even if this one still dances away from my tongue whenever I try to say it, I know it was there, I know it was a name. And I know it was one that is undeniably human. Not some name given and spoken only by spirits, but one that fits the mortal tongue all too well.
This is incredibly valuable information. Finally, before we end the session for tonight, is there anyone that you would like me particularly not to tell about this, or would you rather me keep it to myself completely? I could ask Aurora, she could know more about this than I. The fog of ages has not taken all of her memories.
She, yes, she is one that may know, and I ask that this goes no further than her. At least not for now. At least not until the general reaction of our fellow kindred is gauged. They may try to burn me, or perhaps they will praise me and call me Sir Timothy.
Very well. Out of respect for our partnership, I shall speak only to Aurora of this.
Alright, with that, my lovely ladies and gentlemen, you're correct. It is time for us to call this session to a close.
I was literally about to say, yeah, but I kind of want to leave before the cleaners because I don't like asking questions, and I have to go eat.
Yep. Okay then. So, aspirations. Kara scores none. Timothy Lee. Finding a priest. No. Wipe San Pasado free of the Strix. You get a plus in it. You have a weapon that works pretty consistently. So far as you're aware, it will work pretty consistently. Advanced Covenant's favors.
Wouldn't she get a plus beat for, like, you know, it sounded like Joseph did kind of want to join the...
He's already in a pack. She can't form a pack with him, technically. I don't think you can double dip on packs, can you?
I thought that he said, yeah, if you want to, your pack sounds cool, maybe me and my people will join your pack as well. We'll make a bigger pack. At least that's what I thought was going on.
Possibly. It's something that they'll have to run more steps on than just knowing it's a possibility.
I think the implication was like we'll work together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't really have more than one pack.
Yep.
Like your pack is
Yeah,
your
you definitely can.
like group of, you know,
I thought that
allies.
you guys were talking about like making 2 packs one. I don't know.
The
I
peanut
don't
butter
make
to
this
each
pack.
other's jelly.
They're a bunch of nerds. Play World of Warcraft.
It's true. Mers, you also...
and then when...
Please. Please, I just want to finish. I'm so tired. Mers, you gain a blood beat. Yay.
Cool.
You get something particularly vampire. You diablerized someone. If that's not a blood beat, I don't know what the fuck is. Stray.
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't also exceptional success one of my powers, and I would have probably done it too.
Yep. Stray, you finally have scored in. Reunite with your touchstone. It had a plus in it. That is 4 beats.
Woohoo!
Good job. And Dante, connect with Kara, become friends. I mean, I would say you can score that in. Presumably, you mean you got each other's numbers.
Dante.
Joseph, sorry, brain. Connect with Kara, become friends. Would Kara consider Josephina to be a friend?
We're acquaintances.
No, it stays in a plus then. Owned. Setting up surveillance on a Kindred.
Joseph was actually tempted to offer, like, Applebee's is kind of bad. You just want to go, like, play games or something.
Just want to go to an arcade.
Applebee's kind of bad. Let's go to my arcade bar.
Literally chose just like
The most generic shithole.
place.
That's not even bad enough to qualify for a shithole. It's just painfully generic. Anyway, and everyone, of course, you get your 2 end of session beats. Congratulations.
Yeah, actually get something.
Woo! And thank you very much for playing, you guys. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I'm sorry that it was a bit spotty and everywhere with everyone's bits and pieces, but we're about to essentially approach a time skip, or not so much a time skip as a calendar period wherein you can just overall accomplish goals as a whole. They're probably going to be relatively high on beats, assuming that you manage to prioritize your aspiration scoring appropriately.
Thanks for running it, and I'm sorry about the technical difficulties.
That's okay. There was plenty of other stuff to cover while you were doing your technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
And I'm sorry my bit took so long, you guys.
It was interesting. You diablerized the
You put up
Strix.
with my entire thing last week when I wasn't even brainy
Yep. Everybody gets one.
So good.
Brain no good.
No brain, don't cry. Alright, and with that, I'm gonna close the stream. If you're watching in the streams or you're watching in the VODs, I hope you have yourselves a lovely motherfucking good time. Take care.
Bye, stream.
Bye.
Ciao.